I am Dwayne Morgan, spoken word artist, curator, event producer. The celebration of Black culture is, fundamental to who I am as a Black person. I think the celebration is really rooted a lot in perseverance. It's rooted in innovation. I think historically, for the last few hundred years, we are people who simply based on the color of our skin have been denied a lot of things, opportunities, experiences, and I think we've always found a way to overcome those things. So I think the celebration is really rooted in our ability to do things that people never expected us to do, never thought that we could do, to go into places where we were unwelcome and make magic, to take nothing and create so many things that the world loves, even if they don't love us. Starting out, I've had a lot of influences in terms of what I've decided to do. And it was something that I always knew very early that while there were influencers, I wasn't going to be influenced to the point that I just tried to duplicate what they did. I always wanted to be inspired by what other people did and then figure out, now, how does that look in my life? What can I do with that? So outside of the spoken word world, there was, a dub poetry world, and that would be like my parents' generation who kind of just came from the islands. And these are people like Lillian Allen, Devin Houghton, Clifton Joseph, who were doing a lot of work in Toronto at the time, just around, poetry and the oral tradition, but mostly rooted in that, reggae or calypso experience. And spoken word is really connected heavily to that next generation, that first generation of us here, that hip hop generation. And my influences there would be people like Little X, who is now known as Director X, who was a lot of people don't know, he was a big time spoken word artist before he went into video. But the greatest inspiration would be an artist by the name of Black Cat. And Black Cat at the time was the person who was responsible for putting on the majority of spoken word shows. And he had just had this vibe and this mindset about what he was doing that was so serious that he really allowed me to see that this is something that could be something. You can build a life, you can create a business around it. And everybody wanted to be at his events. And, the first time I performed out of town, he invited me with him to go do a show out at Western University. And just being able to be around him and have access to him and be able to, ask questions and see how he operated was a great learning experience for how I was going to position myself and what I was going to do later on with my career. There's often times when people are like, yeah, I want to do what you did. I want to be the next Dwayne Morgan and stuff like that. And I understand where that comes from. And it's very humbling. And I always remind them that there is a Dwayne Morgan and I'm still here and I'm still alive. So you'll never be the next Dwayne Morgan. The circumstances that created Dwayne Morgan don't exist anymore. So what you can do now is look at the circumstances that you are living in and ask yourself, how do I become the best me? How do I take the inspiration of what Dwayne did in his time and apply it to what I want to do? And I think, that is the greatest thing that I can offer to those who are coming after me is to find your lane, right? Find your niche, find your tribe of people who love what you speak about, who love how you think and your perspective on the world. Take the inspiration from me in terms of being self-sufficient, doing my own events, putting out my own books, all that kind of stuff. Take that and then apply it to your own ideas. But don't ever go out there wanting to be, Dwayne Morgan, because that it's not possible, because that environment no longer exists. And I'm very conscious of the fact that I exist because of the environment that I came up in. And so the young people who are coming up now are in a completely different environment that I know very little about other than what they share with me, and I help them to navigate it. But it's really looking at what are the opportunities that are in front of you. Like, I think about it sometimes, I'm like, man, if I had the opportunities that the young people have now, what I would have been able to do would be so much greater than what I've already done. But I think a lot of times, young people are so caught up in thinking that they need someone to give them something that they don't even realize that they are standing with so much opportunity. Technology, social media, all of this stuff has created an environment that it is so ripe to be an independent artist, to just be creative and to think about what you want to do and what you want to give to the world. But again, a lot of times there's that fear. A lot of times there's like that self-doubt. And the greatest thing that I try to impart to young people is just start. Just get out there and do it. Like my first poem sucks. When I look at it today and I think back, I'm like, oh my gosh, this was horrible. But you got to start somewhere, right? And you have to start with the understanding that after I start, it gets better, right? But it never gets better until you start. I celebrate Black excellence simply by waking up in the morning. It is what I do. It is the only way that I know how to be. Now, oftentimes I've said that and people are like, oh my gosh, he's like, look at how he's talking about himself, his ego or whatever. But you're supposed to be proud of yourself. You're supposed to wake up in the morning and look at yourself and tell yourself, yeah, you're excellent. You're doing great work. Now, you have to be able to back this up. You can't just say it and not be doing anything. But every single day when I wake up, I realize the opportunity that I have to do something great, to do something excellent, to do something that inspires somebody else. And I never try to waste that opportunity any day. So every single day when I wake up, I'm asking myself, what is something excellent that I can do today? So for me, simply being alive, being awake, being present is the most excellent thing that I can do. And I try to celebrate that every single day, because when you grow up in a community where the world tells you that you're not wanted, you're not valuable, you're not good enough, you're not handsome, you're not, you can't live your life waiting for someone to come and say, you can, you are. Who are you waiting for? You are the person that you are waiting for. So every single day, tell it to yourself, because you can't necessarily count on anybody else to affirm your greatness and your excellence. So tell it to yourself and then get to work and prove it. My name is Dwayne Morgan, spoken word artist, curator, and event producer.